All right, let's jump right into this explainer and decode the fascinating psychology behind why some of us literally thrive in the dark. Welcome to the Midnight Mind. You know, if you find yourself coming alive the exact second the sun goes down, well, you're definitely in the right place. We're going to unpack the deeply rooted reasons, both psychological and biological, why your brain operates on a completely different timetable than the rest of the world.
So tell me if this sounds familiar. Have you ever wondered why your brain suddenly switches on to full power the exact moment the rest of the world goes to sleep? Like while everyone else is winding down and getting ready for bed, you are suddenly feeling super alert, totally inspired, and completely ready to tackle that complex project you've kind of been putting off all day. It's an incredibly common phenomenon, but man, is it deeply misunderstood by the 9-to-5 world. Society loves to slap a negative label on this, right? People might call you a procrastinator, or brush it off as just a bad habit. But psychology actually reframes this whole thing. The reality here isn't laziness at all. It's a highly creative state tied to what we call the incubation effect. It's not just about staying up late. It's really about how your unique brain processes information, craves solitude, and ultimately cultivates creativity. Okay, moving on to Section 1, escaping cognitive noise. We're looking at the shift from chaos to clarity.
To really grasp the nighttime mind, we've first got to talk about your cognitive bandwidth. Think of this as your total mental capacity for the day. During daylight hours, the human brain is just constantly bombarded by noise. I mean, we're talking endless emails, demanding social obligations, and just the frantic, buzzing energy of everyone else around you. And for a highly active mind, processing all of that constant daily noise is incredibly expensive. It literally just drains your tank.
So night owls aren't just running away from daytime responsibilities, they are systematically reallocating their mental energy. Think about it as a progression. You move from heavy daytime consumption, filtering out all that noise, finding the quiet, and finally landing on nighttime creation. When the sun goes down, that frantic noise finally stops. Your brain now has the ultimate luxury, space. Space to enter a much deeper thinking state, focusing on things that actually compound, like learning and creating.
And that brings us to a really crucial point. The incubation effect. This is a psychological phenomenon where your absolute best ideas surface only after you disconnect from constant external stimulation. By trading the chaotic buzz of the day for the pure clarity of the night, you're fully activating your brain's problem-solving networks. You see, you aren't avoiding work at all, you're just waiting for the absolute optimal environmental conditions to do your best work.
Research actually consistently backs this up, showing our most brilliant solutions appear when we finally have the space to let our minds wander without a single distraction. When you're wide awake at 2 a.m., you've successfully transitioned from being a passive consumer of the day's noise to an active creator. That midnight silence, that is your ultimate tool.
Let's dive into Section 2, the multi-dimensional thinker, working deeper, not just faster.
Now, if your mind never really seems to rest, hey, don't worry. It's simply because your brain is processing details, consequences, and possibilities that most other people just completely miss. For you, one thought naturally leads to 10 others. During the day, there just isn't enough uninterrupted time to follow all those threads. But at night, you can pull on every single one of those conceptual strings without anyone interrupting your flow.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, those random 2 a.m. bursts of intense focus. Suddenly, you're researching the history of medieval architecture for 3 hours straight. Well, these aren't weird behaviors. They're actually your brain's curiosity system doing its job. You are triggering a massive dopamine reward because you're finally feeding your brain the exciting, complex information it craves. You're rewarding your intellect in a way those mundane daytime tasks simply can't match.
And this ties right into the concept of selective organization. It perfectly explains why your daily routine might look super chaotic or unstructured to an outsider, but behind the scenes, your creative work and your ideas are immaculately structured. Highly active minds prioritize true mental efficiency. You put your energy only into what truly matters to you, pretty much ignoring those surface-level routines that society demands, but that offer absolutely zero intellectual reward. Oh, and here's a fun one. You might even catch yourself talking out loud to yourself late at night. Don't panic, you aren't going crazy. This is actually a highly efficient psychological tool called verbal reasoning. By turning your complex nighttime thoughts into spoken words, you are actively organizing really dense ideas and solving problems way faster than you ever could during those busy, restricted daylight hours. It's basically an auditory processing life hack.
All right, moving on to Section 3, Biology and Uneasy Rest. We'll look at the physical and nervous system drivers.
So, there are two main internal drivers actually keeping you awake.
On one side, we've got your physical circadian rhythm, that internal body clock that controls melatonin. You might just naturally peak later in the day. But on the flip side, we have a much deeper psychological driver, a trauma response known as uneasy rest. Yes, your nighttime preference might actually be deeply linked to your nervous system.
Think about it. For those who grew up in environments where they had to be the responsible one, or had to constantly manage the unpredictable emotions of others, the daytime is just flat out exhausting. The night might literally be the only time your high-alert nervous system feels safe enough to finally let your guard down and just be yourself. You might find it near impossible to relax during the day when the world is watching, because you've been wired to feel you only have value when you're actively doing something.
But hey, the good news is, when you finally start working with your biology, instead of fighting against it to fit some rigid 9-to-5 mold, incredible things happen. You can actually achieve a fully restored state even with fewer hours of sleep. The secret isn't necessarily hitting that magic 8-hour mark. It's really about ensuring your sleep cycles are high quality and perfectly aligned with when your body actually wants to rest.
Which brings us to Section 4, Depth over Trends, the ultimate validation.
Listen, if there is just one thing you remember from everything we've covered in this explainer today, the absolute most important takeaway I can give you is this simple validation. You aren't broken. Your late-night productivity, it isn't a flaw in your character. You don't need to be fixed just because your internal clock doesn't naturally align with the sunrise.
You are operating on a rare level of cognitive complexity that absolutely thrives in solitude. You just require a different kind of environment to flourish. By embracing the night, you're purposefully choosing depth and truth over surface-level living and fleeting daily trends. You are literally carving out the exact sanctuary your mind needs to do its absolute best work.
So I'm going to leave you with this question. How will you use your beautifully complex midnight mind tonight? What brilliant idea is just waiting for the sun to go down so it can finally emerge? If you want to keep decoding the hidden psychology behind your personality, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. Because here, we don't just skim the surface, we decode the mind. Thanks so much for exploring this explainer with me, and I'll catch you in the next one.